Chapter 166. Alex replied coldly, "That is your lifeline." The reason why the evil spirit could be appeased so easily is because Gary is using your life as a trade-off. Within 2 days, this red line will extend all the way to your elbow. After that, you will drop dead immediately. Gary is using all the virtues and good deeds that you have accumulated in your lifetime, and he is sacrificing your life in exchange for the lives of the rest of the Lane family members. Matthew was shocked when he heard Alex's words. He froze in place because he was utterly shocked. Watson was also panicking at this time as he looked at the people around them. All of the masters who were present nodded slightly as they witnessed this scene. Matthew will not live for more than 2 days. Watson knelt on the ground before he begged Gary, "Mr. Depp. Please save my father's life." At this time, Gary stared at Watson with an arrogant expression on his face as he sneered and said, "I have already used my magic to appease the evil spirit. How do you expect me to take it back? I am using Matthew's life in exchange for the safety of the rest of the Lane family members. You should be thanking me right now." Daisy turned pale immediately as she bit her lower lip. After thinking for a short while, she knelt down before Alex and said, "Please, Mr. Anderson. Please help my father." Alex glanced at her before he replied indifferently, "Since the Lane family chose to trust in Mr. Depp instead of me, then this has nothing to do with me anymore. Why should I help you now?" Daisy's eyes were red as she could not stop crying at this time. She gritted her teeth and said, "Mr. Anderson, if you save my father, I promise to fulfill any requests you have." Alex chuckled before he replied, "I have nothing that I want from you." At this time, Matthew also ran over to Alex and knelt down before him as he cried, "Mr. Anderson, I'm sorry I was blinded. Watson was the one brainwashing me." After that, Matthew dragged Watson over to him before giving him a tight slap across the face. Watson quickly dodged and moved aside before he could give him another slap. Out of desperation, Daisy grabbed hold of Alex's legs as she pleaded, "Mr. Anderson, please save my dad. Please help him." At this time, Alex sighed before he replied, "Okay, you can get up now. I was just scaring you just now. Fortunately, your father is wearing the talisman I had given him earlier. Nothing is going to happen to him now." Matthew was doubtful and he held the stun talisman that he was wearing over his neck in his hand before he said, "Is this talisman working?" Alex nodded before he said, "Yes, take a look at your palm. The red line must be fading quickly because of the talisman. Mr. Depp needs to try harder to defeat the power of my talisman." Matthew looked at his arm and he saw that the red line had dimmed a little and it was gradually fading away. He was overjoyed at this moment and he quickly said, "Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Anderson. If it wasn't for you today, I would have." Alex waved his hand and said, "You are lucky that you came here with the stun talisman on you today. Otherwise, there is nothing I would be able to do for you either." After he was done speaking, Alex turned around and looked at Gary before he said, "The result is obvious now. Aren't you going to admit defeat?" After realizing the situation, Watson finally came over to Alex and knelt down before him before he apologized to him without saying anything else. Gary's face turned blue and he glared at Alex before he said, "How can you say that you've won just because of that talisman? Do you know that I really wanted to spare your life, but it seems as though you are very stubborn and persistent? I am giving you one last chance to live. I will let you off today if you hand the clam over to me and kneel down and apologize to me right now." Gary did not want to play his last card, but since Alex had already defeated him, he had no other choice but to do so. Otherwise, the banquet that he planned today would be all for nothing. However, once he were to play his last card, everyone here could die if he could not control his powers completely. At this time, Alex stared at him before he said, "And what if I refuse to do so?" "You've forced me to do this," Gary said as he took out a black porcelain jar from the box next to him as soon as he was done speaking. A few mosquitoes flew out of the altar before they instantly pounced on the meat on the table before they started chewing on the meat. Faria was very skeptical as she said, "This is Mr. Depp raising mosquitoes?" Everyone watched as the mosquitoes continued pouncing on the meat. They found this scene very strange and inexplicable. All the masters had no idea what was going on and they could only whisper among themselves. However, within a few seconds, the meat that had been eaten by the black mosquitoes suddenly changed color and countless smaller black mosquitoes started emerging from the meat.